today we have a very special guest on. I say that every single time because I love every single person. So please make sure you are tuning in on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening or watching, so you can watch this whole thing or listen to this whole thing, because it's going to be amazing. We may cry a little bit, we may be a little happy, a little sad. We'll see what happens as everything goes on. But we have the amazingly talented director, actor, singer, dancer. She's beautiful, charming, Lady Gaga. No, it's not Lady Gaga today, I promise. It is the beautiful Lon Barrera. Hooty, 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 hoot. Thank you so much for being on today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So if you don't know Lon, it's okay, because now you know Lon. Right? I didn't know Lon for the longest time.
Right.
I mean, I had seen you, I'm trying to think, it was in Mamma Mia.
Oh, okay.
When Kristen Spires did it.
Yeah.
Was that at GPAC?
Yes, it was.
Yes.
Yes, it was.
Because
You were one of the first Mamma Mias, thank God.
before the Mamma Mia.
The summer of Mamma Mia.
Yes. Which you were phenomenal in.
Oh, thanks.
You sang that little duet with Kristen. I can't remember what it is, but
I can't remember either.
that's a song
But-
I can't remember either.
Yeah,
that was
but
the title of it.
our last summer.
Yes.
that's
Oh,
what it was.
so beautiful. I think I teared up at that point.
Well, Kristen and I have a long relationship, so to play opposite her was just a gift. She's my theater wife.
I love
She
that.
has been for 15 years, something like that.
I feel. Do you know what? I can't wait to be, gay and aged, and have a theater wife, because I feel.
Did you just call me old?
No, I would never. I said
It's
aged, like
time
fine,
already.
fine wine. Oh, Amanda, that's good today.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Valero had a good choice.
I love it.
No, because I feel Michael Sorecchia has Megan Kelly Bates.
Yeah,
Right? You have Kristen
I
Spires.
do.
Who else is old? No.
Darling,
Me?
I'm older than I ever intended to be, but I'm still here.
No, thank goodness. No, because you've done some amazing stuff. Because I've also seen you, well, not seen you, but I've seen shows that you've directed as well.
Yeah.
I saw Disaster,
Oh,
which
one of
was
my favorites.
phenomenal.
One
I
of my
mean,
favorites.
you had amazing. Is that the first time you directed Disaster?
I've done it twice. Which one did you see?
I saw the time with Jaden.
Okay,
So the most
at
recent
Runway.
one, yes.
At Runway, yes.
Yes, which-
Yeah. I actually directed the regional premiere, oddly enough. On Stage in Bedford got the rights to it, like the day the rights were released. And Michael Winters, who is artistic director there, called me and said, "I know you were supposed to do this other show, but you want to do it?" Yes, I would like to do that. So we were the first people to do it, and
Wow.
it is just a plate full of ridiculousness.
Yeah.
And my favorite note to give the cast during that was, "That's ridiculous, keep it. That's stupid, keep it." Yeah, it's just fun.
Well, because it's all the camp.
Times 10, and then, some glitter on top of it.
Because it's Seth Rudetsky, right?
Yes,
Yeah, so.
he and Jack Plotnick wrote
Yes.
it. Yeah.
All the camp. I mean, I don't think you can go too far
No,
with that show.
no, you cannot.
But yeah, it was Jaden, I know Donovan who was in it.
Donovan was in it.
Who else? Oh, Patrick Bilbo
Yes.
played your twins. When I tell you,
That kid,
perfect.
and of that cast of, I think it was 18 or 19, he was the most professional. Came in, knew his stuff. Like, he is legit. That kid is the real deal. He's great.
Good kid. Good.
He's great.
So I heard a little thing that Jaden told me the other day, because I was just hanging out with them, that Patrick would follow them around and wanted to hang out with Jaden, and somebody went up. It was Hannah, the stage manager. 'Cause
Yeah.
I love Hannah too.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
love me some Hannah. Hannah went up and said, "Oh, Patrick thinks you're 14." Jaden was like, at first was taken aback, and then was like,
Oh, thank you. Yeah, she got good genes, that one.
She really does.
Yeah.
It just made me laugh. I was like,
That's
you
funny.
could pull 14.
Yeah, you could.
You know?
Well, I will tell you, in the casting of that, the way that we put that show together is we had one night of auditions, and then we were planning the next night to do auditions and then callbacks. Well, the next night it snowed. So, oops, I guess we're not going to do that. And then that Thursday or Friday of that week, I was going, ironically, on a cruise. So I was like, we have to cast this somehow. So we just went through the list of people who had signed up, people that we knew, people that we loved, and we considered, before we found Patrick, we considered Jaden for the twins. It was like, she could do it because they look like they're 12. But yeah, so it worked out lovely that she could play Lavora and that Patrick, that I got a chance to meet. And that whole family is kind of amazing.
Shout out to the Bildos.
Yes.
We love you.
Love you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was originally cast as a child, and I had to decline because I also look 12. No, we're not cutting to that. No, I do look 12. I don't know why everybody's shaking their head in this room right now, but thank you so much. T, so thank you. Yeah, Kristen actually called me for that and said, I'd love you to play the child.
There you go.
And I thought we were doing a Christmas show and I was playing the infant Jesus.
I like it.
In a swaddling cloth.
Okay, I guess.
No.
And I will be the Virgin Mary.
Yeah. Well, that's a first.
You know, yeah.
I am a virgin. Mary.
Again?
Isn't
Are you
that how
born-
it works after a day?
Are you a born again virgin?
Born again. Born again. I'm dead. Okay. But let's backtrack a little bit now that we know about you and who you are and how, and honestly, so I want to say we met maybe at, I think you came to a cabaret here at Theater Arlington.
Maybe.
I
don't recall, to be honest.
Or maybe it was a show. It was something.
Okay.
Where I got to meet you in person. And I was like, oh, super sweet. Because you may have come with Joe Brown or... Nope. Sorry. It's not you, Joe Brown. Sorry.
No.
It was, you were here with someone and I was like, oh, I got to meet you. And Steve was like, yes, you need to know Lon, wonderful person. But we had never really chatted in person before today. So, and now we're besties. What can I say? Move out of the way, Kara. You bitch. We just spilled the truth. Yeah. I mean, you saw the episode.
I did.
Where she said outright,
yeah,
she's going on The Amazing Race with someone else.
Yes, that bitch.
Yeah,
with James, whatever, because he can get her on Broadway, whatever.
Yeah, I know, right?
Whatever.
Have you talked to her since? Or you cut off all communication?
She's dead to me.
You heard it here first.
She's dead to me.
She's dead to me too.
Yeah, but I have talked to her because I saw her in the prom.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's backtrack. You got your start with the little defunct theater in Cedar Hill.
Mm-hmm.
How long ago?
More years than I'd like to count.
I wasn't even born.
You probably weren't. It was 1991.
Nope, not even born.
And I had been. That's just rude, by the way.
I was born. I was a year. I'm kidding.
That's even ruder. So I had been in college. I'd been a theater major, and I realized that I'm not really good at auditioning, and that it scared the hell out of me. Oh, can I cuss?
Oh yeah, you can say whatever the fuck you want.
Okay, great, because I tend to have a mouth to say that. So I kind of turned away from theater in '84 or '85, and just thought, okay, that was done. And then I was working at a travel agency in '91, and a friend of mine ran a theater, and another friend of mine that worked there was doing a show. So I went to go see it to support him, whatever. It was in a barn in Theater on the Hill. It was called Theater on the Hill in Cedar Hill. It was in this like acres of land, and it was a barn. And it was 3/4 in the round. And so I went to see the show, and it was a melodrama. It was fun, was whatever. And then after the show, my friend Terry Keough, who was in the show, said they're having auditions for their next show on Monday. I dare you to come audition. Well, you dare me, okay, I gotta do it, right? So I showed up, and Daniel, I swear to God, I was petrified, but somehow I got one of the leads. I don't know if they didn't have enough people. I don't know if they felt sorry for me. And it was Carol Rice, who now runs Rover Drama Works. She cast me in Charlie's Aunt, which was my first show. And I haven't stopped since then.
Thanks a lot, Carol.
It's Carol's fault. She knows it's
We can
Carol's
blame Carol for
Yep.
this.
Yep.
So what was it like back in the day? Musical theater to know Andrew Lloyd Webber in the 80s. To be around when Cats came out.
Don't get me starting on Cats, because yeah.
But I want to see the Jellicle Ball.
Okay, have fun.
You don't think that it's going to be?
I'm not a fan.
They've said
I'm not a fan of Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Oh, period.
Overall.
Okay.
Overall, Sunset Boulevard is really the only show that he's done that I thought, oh, that. The rest of them, I don't have use for.
Would you want to see the new version of it that's like broken down?
I probably will, just because it's so drastically different than the original. But I did see because I am that old. I did see Glenn Close in the original production.
Stop.
Yeah, with that set and everything. Yeah. Amazing.
Was it just phenomenal?
It was remarkable, and Glenn Close was perfection.
Okay, do you know what? Here's a question I do. What is the best show you've ever seen? Because you've probably seen a good amount of shows.
I think the two that stick out are, and for completely different reasons, Ragtime, the original company of Ragtime. Was breathtaking.
Like Brian Stokes Mitchell.
And Mary Maisie and Audra McDonald, and yes, it was breathtaking because the scope and size of it and the sheer number of people that were on that stage. It was remarkable. But I think the thing that sticks out the most for me, and I may cry when I tell you this story, is I also saw the original company of Rent. But I saw it, I went when it was the big thing, and we went up there, and I went with some dear friends of mine, and I sat next to my friend Brad, who's no longer with us. And we knew he had HIV at the time. And that moment in the second act where they line up and Angel's not there, it's the first time I physically lost control of myself in the theater. I was sobbing so much holding his hand because I knew that would be him, that space would be him at some time. And so those two theatrical experiences stayed emblazed in my mind.
I mean, just to hear the power that show really has behind it, right? And especially during that time.
Yeah.
Right?
Because it was 95, 96, something like that. So the AIDS crisis was still, it was still ravaging people. Yeah, it was pretty remarkable.
I can't imagine. Yeah. Both of those shows, though, are just, because even Ragtime, every time I see it, I don't care how many times I've seen it.
It's just stunning. It's just stunning theater.
I remember walking out the first time seeing it, still sobbing, saying he had his father's hands. Like, just, and I can't imagine the original production.
Yeah.
So I'm jealous of that.
Yeah.
Do you take mini trips to New York?
I try to get up there at least once a year. I have a ridiculous tradition now. Since 1989, I have seen every single Tony Award winning Best Musical in New York. Not necessarily the original company, but eventually I've seen them all, with the exception of Stephen Sondheim's Passion, because it only ran for 6 months, so I missed it. But like I will go see things now just because they won the Tony. Like I'll end up seeing The Outsiders. It wasn't necessarily high on my list, but no, I got to keep the trend going, right?
No. So. Yeah, I don't know if I have interest in The Outsiders either, but I hear that
it looks that rumble scene on the Tony was remarkable, and apparently it's all done in silence. Like there's no music, there's no underscoring or anything, and I'm like, ooh, that would be a powerful moment. So I'll see it eventually.
Yeah, no, and I mean just the rain on the stage, everything that they're able to do with it.
Yeah.
Have you ever made it rain on a stage before?
On purpose? No.
You made it rain on accident.
I don't think so.
I just see you. Oops.
No, we did do Poseidon, the Upside Down musical, several years ago, where we sweat so much that felt like it was raining because it was in the Dallas Hub Theater, which doesn't exist anymore, because it was a health hazard. And we did it at about this time of year in July, I think, and there was no air conditioning in it. And I played the Shelley Winters role, so I was in a fat suit and pantyhose, a wig, and a polyester dress. That was really pretty.
That's me on a Saturday night. That's me currently. Look at this. So speaking of mini roles, I mean, that sounds almost like, what's that show that Mark Watt did? His story. Did you see any of that? Did you see that show in like Frisco or Plano? It was called His Story, and like, it was hot. They didn't even have bathrooms that were working.
Yeah, it's just like, that's just not fair. You know, it's hard enough to be on stage and to do a show. You should at least be comfortable and, I don't know, safe.
Yeah. Safe. That's the word right there. So speaking of mini roles, we're going to go into a small little game segment next, where we call it Who Said That?
Okay.
Play the music. Who said that? So we're going to play a game. We'll catch you back on the couch. I mean, we're not moving, honestly. We're playing the game right here. We're just going to cut the tape, and Amanda's going to be really good at editing it and bringing us back in. So we'll see you in a bit. Hi, guys, and welcome to That's What She Said.
Okay.
I need everybody to do that. Lon, we've got gay energy here, honestly. It just works so well. Lon.
How dare you assume that I'm a homosexual?
Homosexual.
Because I said it that way. Maybe that's why I listened.
Homosexual. Yes. Lon is now my co-star for this podcast.
Cheers.
He'll be on every episode.
We'll always be bosom buddies.
Yes!
Sisters and pals. Maine said that, right?
Maine.
Who said? Yeah, that's what she said.
That's what she said. So on this episode of That's What She Said, we are going to give you some lines from roles that you've played before.
Can I just say line?
Okay. Allie off stage. So hopefully you remember some of these.
Okay.
We'll see if you do. If you do not, I'm going to try my best to help you out. But God, if I remember any of these.
Okay.
Myself. So, here we go. Are you ready?
As ready as I'm going to get.
The $100 question is, the password is, when I talk to the police, I get nervous.
Emery and Boys in the Band.
Close, but no cigar. I wonder if that's what it's supposed to be. No? No, it's not.
Wait, say it again?
When I talk to the police, I get nervous.
When I talk to the police, I get nervous. I don't know.
So it's a show.
Well, that's good. Because isn't that what this game is about?
That you talked about that you really couldn't ad-lib.
Oh! Erno in Glengarry Glen Ross.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, okay, now I remember that. I think Emery said that too. Let's go with that.
Okay.
I've said that twice on stage.
So the score that we're showing right here is now Lon 0.
Thanks.
Okay, the $200 question.
Okay.
It might be nice, but frankly, it would give me gas.
Cabaret.
Yeah.
That's in the song.
Yes! Yes!
It was a pineapple for you. Would you like a slice? It might be nice, but it would give me gas.
Yes! Okay, wonderful. Oh, he got one right! Because that's what she said. I've had too much wine. I've had a little too much now. Hope I don't spill it on Allie's new laptop.
She just wiped the fingerprint off. You spill that wine, you're done. Daniel no longer does DFW.
Almost made a comment. We're going to keep going. The $300 question. Wisdom. Sorry, I had to re-say this line in my head because I stopped where I shouldn't have stopped. Wisdom doesn't always come with age. Occasionally, the young can be as rational as you or I.
Wisdom doesn't always come with age. Did I ever say that in a show?
Wisdom doesn't always come with age. Occasionally, the young can be as rational as you or I. This is kind of from left field. Allie did her research on this one.
Allie, I hate you.
Brian. Oh. In the shadow box.
In this theater.
At Theater Arlington.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This may be one of my favorite ones right here. So again, score is 1.
Okay, we're aware of the score, Daniel. Thank you.
It gets bigger and bigger.
That's what she said.
Because that's what she said. I want you to pick up that toast as if you were John Wayne.
Oh, Alban in Le Cage au Fond.
Yes. Le Cage au Fond. Exactly. Wonderful. There, see, you got 2 points.
Except I didn't say that.
Oh, really?
Oh, actually,
George
says that. Yeah,
Yes.
I was like, I've played both of them, so sorry. I've played both those. I played both sides of that
You
relationship.
played 2 men.
In La Cage, I played it.
And in
both.
life.
Yes, once or twice. Yeah, I want you to pick up that toast like you were John Wayne. Yes.
Good. There you go. See, because that's what she said. I don't know how many times I need to stop. Honestly, I'm getting sick of it. I'm sorry, people. I'm now sick of me saying it.
So am I. Sorry, darling. Go right ahead.
Let's just remember you only have 2 points.
But I have 2. Okay.
Have you?
Listen.
Okay.
Linda.
No, I'm gonna keep going.
Linda.
Okay. What's he had? A lobotomy?
What's he had? A lobotomy? What's he had? A lobotomy? I don't know.
So you thought?
Boys in the Band?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. That was 20 years ago.
Stop.
25 years ago that I did Boys in the Band. Yeah.
And you're reprising the role again.
Oh.
Get up to
Old Men in the Band?
no longer boys in the band.
We're no longer boys in the band.
Seniors in the band.
There
Write
you go.
that.
There you
Write
go.
that show.
Seniors in the Home.
Oh, I love it.
What's he at? A lobotomy?
Yes. All right. Here's your next one. I hope I get the chance to get my tongue around a little Greek.
That's Harry the Headbanger and Mamma Mia.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I love my tongue around a little Greek.
Do we have any Greek men in DFW?
I'm available.
Call in now. Lines are open. Flash Lon's number. All right, here's the big one.
Okay.
This is the last one. This is worth double the points, and the points don't matter.
Okay.
All right. Well, what kind of society do we live in if we can't discuss the similarities between pornography
and musical theater? That is Men in Chair and the Drowsy Chaperone.
Yes, also known as Lon Barrera.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Because that's what she said.
That's fun. That's hard.
Right?
That's hard.
It unlocks a lot of stuff in there.
Well, because I'm like, I haven't said that with those words. Like Kara said, I've never said those words. I'm like, I don't think I've said those words, but it's been a couple of years, and we've had a little bit of wine.
Yeah, well, here's the funny thing. If we were to do this with roles that I've played, it would just be stage direction.
Yeah, it's like
stumbles, because
right.
I never had lines in shows. So, or like, sweetie, sweet, just ensemble. So, I'm glad that we can play this with you, because I could never play this
There you
game.
go. Oh, buddy.
But no, you did great. You got, what, 3?
3?
Yeah, 3 out of 27.
Okay, great.
So,
great. Great.
That's a good average,
Okay,
I would think.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
Did I beat Kara? That's all that matters.
No,
I don't think I did.
no. But we can beat her.
I will. Next time I see her.
That bitch.
Like across the face.
I
would not do that.
We're gonna do
I
it.
would never do that. I would never strike a woman. I would not.
I'd go on strike for
Yes,
women.
I would too.
I would never strike. Okay, we're gonna head back to the chair. We're sitting in the chairs, aren't we?
Well, let's head back to them in the. Yeah, I I was trying to think of something funny and that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So
Somebody close the curtain on us.
Yes.
Bring out the rod like the Apollo. Hold on, we'll see back. Well, that just goes to prove that you never remember your lines.
no, I don't remember them when I'm doing them, much less, years and years later.
Yeah, no, that was embarrassing for both of us.
Well, cheers.
Fortunately, we're gonna have to cut that game from future segments. Yeah, thanks to Lon.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Carol. That's my new saying. Thanks, Carol, for everything.
She'll love that.
Yeah,
She'll love that.
So we have a picture of Carol right here.
Right. We'll just put a pop-up.
Yeah.
Of her.
Thanks. So speaking of your many new roles that you have done, let's talk about some of your favorites.
I've been very, 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 very blessed and lucky to get to play some roles that turned out to be dream roles that I didn't know were dream roles until I did that. The first that comes to mind is Herr Schultz in Cabaret. I am not a feeble little old Jewish man, but Derek Whitener, God bless him, saw me as that. And so I went to do it, and it was just remarkable because that show is just remarkable. I love that. I loved Glenn Ross, where I played George Aronow, but it was Mamet, and you talk about not knowing your lines. Holy crap! And Ashley White is the one who directed that, and she insisted that we get every single word in the text correctly, and I don't do that really well. It's why I don't do Shakespeare, because the only thing you can ad-lib on Shakespeare is I take my leave and walk off, because I know. And so Glengarry was difficult, but so much fun. But the role that is me, I think Bob Martin wrote it for me. He just played it first, was Man and Chair in the Drowsy Chaperone. I've been blessed enough to do Drowsy 4 times.
Wow.
Once at Theater 3 as underling, and then 3 times, again, thank you, Derek Whitener, at Firehouse twice, and once in Rockwall. And I can just sit in a chair, and if anyone's casting it now, Man and Chair could use a cane. You could use a cane.
I see it.
Right? So yeah, that is just, for me, it's the perfect Valentine of a show for anybody who loves the theater. And he just sits on me very, very well. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen that show before. Never.
Really?
I know.
Oh, it is just perfection. You know the conceit of the show, right?
No, tell me a little bit about it.
So he starts off, he has a huge monologue in the dark, and it starts with, I hate theater. Well, it's so disappointing, isn't it? And it goes from there, and then he decides he's feeling a little blue today, a little self-indulgent sadness, a state that I call blue.
So you remember those lines now, but
Yes.
when we played it in the game, you couldn't remember them?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah, you're welcome. But then he decides he has a relationship with the audience, and he speaks directly to them, and he says that he feels like in order to curb his state of being blue, he's going to play his favorite record. So he chooses Gable and Stein's The Drowsy Chaperone, which is a fake 1929 musical, and he plays the cast album. And as he plays it, he stops the album, and he talks about the actors, he talks about the scene, he talks about how ridiculous it is, and then he continues and plays the whole album for the audience. So as he's playing the album, the show comes to life behind him. It is 2 separate shows. It is his show, which is basically a monologue, and it is the show, The Drowsy Chaperone. And we did it. It was the last. Matter of fact, it is the last thing I've done on stage as an actor. Firehouse Theater brought back the original cast from 2000, most of the original cast from 2015 in 2020 to do it. We closed it the end of February 2020, I got on a plane right after that. I went to New York to see some shows. When I came back, the world had shut down. So it literally is this little nugget of time where we got a chance to do this show, and it was a huge hit, and everybody in the cast was lovely, and both the folks that returned and the new folks. And so, yeah, I'd do it again in a minute. My big goal, I think, of what's left of my theater career is I'd love to direct it and sit in the chair. It would be a huge challenge to do that, but I'm like, yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. So anybody who wants to do that, I'm available.
Throw it out there. I love when people find that show, you know?
It's
like
my show.
Kara has said that she could always play the mom in Next to Normal, right? She could do that. Like, she wants to go on the road with that.
God, she was good at it. God, she was good at it.
Yeah. And I think
she's good at everything.
Yeah. Amen.
You know,
right.
I hate her, but she's good at everything.
Bitch. You know, you would play that. You would take that and just
anywhere, anytime, wherever. Yeah, wherever.
That's amazing. Yeah. I think it's just when you find that and you know what your niche is.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's just so special because I think I haven't done a lot of shows myself. Right. I'm still fairly new to being on stage. I like working behind the scenes, vocal coaching, teaching, etc. And I've had people ask, you know, what is that dream role? And it's not until I see a production or I happen to be...
And sometimes you won't even realize it. Like, you'll see it and go, oh, I love that show, but I could never do that. And sometimes you do, and you go, oh, that. I want to do that. It's like cabaret for me. Like, I love that show, but I'm like, I can't do that show. I'm not German Jewish. Like, what? And people who are willing to take a risk on you can make that happen. Can bring you a gift that you didn't even know you wanted. So, thank you, Derek Widener.
I mean, right?
Yep.
So, and I know you've directed a lot as well.
Yes.
Do you have any directorial favorites?
Disaster was a favorite. Xanadu is a favorite.
Xanadu's so much fun.
It's that you talk
Camp
about
as well.
I have a tell. You know, I love a good campy show. But
how many times have you directed Xanadu?
Twice.
Because I saw the original production with Sarah Dickerson.
Yes.
Right?
And Dustin Simmons.
Yes. Loved it. And Amanda was in that one, right?
Yes, she was.
Oh,
yes, she
love
was.
Amanda.
And you know, we were talking about dream roles and people taking a chance. I'll never forget casting that. Kristen and I were casting that. We'd seen lots of people. And we literally had headshots on the stage trying to figure out this puzzle. Because that's what casting is. It's always a puzzle. And I tell actors all the time, just because you don't get a role doesn't mean it was you. It was the director sees the role in a certain way or envisions something that just isn't you. And that doesn't mean you're good or bad or whatever. And we were placing headshots on the stage, and Diane Powell and Shannon Walsh ended up next to each other, and I'm like, oh, well, that's interesting. Diane Powell is a soprano, right? She doesn't do a whole lot of pop shows and stuff. Matter of fact, I just had lunch with her a couple days ago. And she talks about that show because we gave her something that nobody would typically cast her in. And I'm like, I think this is going to work. And it was perfection. They were perfection together.
I love that show. I mean, I went so far, I saw it twice.
Did you?
And the second time I did the stage seating that you
Yep.
had that came with the little disco balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, goodness, a long time. That was at on stage.
That was 10 years.
That was 10?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was 10 years.
and I wasn't even in the theater realm at that point.
Yeah.
I didn't even know.
So why'd you come?
I was friends with Sarah Dickerson.
Okay.
And so I was like,
Sarah Garcia.
Yeah, Sarah Garcia. I was friends with her at the time, and which now she's a kid, I never get to see her anymore.
Right.
And so I was like, of course, I want to see this show. It sounds funny, you know? Why not? I've never heard of it before.
Smart. It's really, really smart.
And just the skating alone Dead.
Oh, I can tell you a Sarah story about that. That bitch. I told her that over and over, put pads on as she was skating. Put pads on because if something happens, I want you to be okay. We had Kevin Brown. Built that incredible set. We like literally tore down walls so that whole theater was open for us to play in, and we built that ramp. And the first time she went down it, she busted her ass and hurt her elbow. And I just looked at her and I went, "It's your own damn fault. I told you to wear pads." And to this day,
Yeah, Kevin did a great job. Because, I mean, that ramp that came down and then it just...
remarkable.
So good.
He's remarkable.
Yeah, it was a really good... Yeah, I would agree with that. That's probably one of my favorite shows that I've ever seen.
Yeah, so fun.
That you did.
So fun.
Now, you talked a little bit about you auditioning and being afraid of auditions. So I want to talk about a funny audition story.
Okay, hold. What's my funny story?
Or, no, sorry, it was a funny mishap. What was it? Audition? What was it?
Both. I was gonna say you can talk about like the callbacks being
Yes,
that's what it was.
Yeah.
And
the
you
way
didn't get
it's
the role.
best of it all.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Wonderful.
Both, all of the above, whatever you want.
Okay.
Yep. So you talked about you being nervous just a little bit for auditions,
Mm-hmm.
but I want to talk about a story that you told me about you at a callback one day.
I went to audition for a show that was speaking of dream roles that I thought was a dream role of mine that I thought I was perfect for. It was one man in the entire cast. I was called back. I was there for 3 hours. Sang, read with everybody in the callbacks to the point where people were like, "Well, this is yours, right?" I'm like, "Well, I think so. I assume so." And a week later, or whenever the cast was announced, without me on the cast list, I was so pissed. Not because I didn't get the role, but because I felt like I was used to be a reader. And I'm like, that's not what I signed up for. I didn't sign up to be a reader. I was so mad. And at the time, in my theatrical career, I only thought I could audition at, lower level community theaters. Like I would never go to a professional house. Never, like that would, in my head, I wasn't good enough for that. I needed to get that audition out of my head and out of that bad taste out of my mouth. So I looked up and I was like, "What's auditioning?" So I went to go audition for the late great Jack Alder at Theater 3 for a show called The Royal Family. Didn't get a callback, but it didn't matter. It wasn't about getting the show. It was about making sure that wasn't the last audition I had been on. Mm-hmm. And then I saw that Lyric Stage was doing Funny Girl. And so I went and auditioned and sang I Am What I Am from La Cage because I had just played that. I'm like, I know that song, I don't have to prepare. I went, and God bless Cheryl Denson. She cast me, and I played a small featured role in the ensemble and lots of different characters and stuff. But at the cast party for Funny Girl, which was a remarkable experience to do that show because nobody ever does it, I looked at Cheryl and I said, because I love the way Cheryl Denson directs. She's very much, she was an actor, so she directs with an eye towards actors. And I just loved how she cared for us and helped us through all of that. I said, "Cheryl, I only want to work with you. Like, what are you doing next?" And she went, "That's good to know." And I said, "Okay," went back to my wine and whatever. Fast forward a year, and Uptown Players is doing Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. I make an audition appointment, and I'm so scared. I'm like, I don't have any reason to be at Uptown Players. They're never going to use me. So I canceled my appointment. And I was like, no, it's just not for me. Because in my head, if I don't show up for the audition, that's why I didn't get it, right? I don't have to be disappointed. And so then the day after their auditions, Craig Lynch, who is one of the producers at Uptown Players, calls me and says, "Cheryl would like you to come to the callback for Dirty Rotten Scoundrels." I'm like, "But it did an audition." Like, how does that happen? And he said, I said, what do I need to do? And he said, be prepared to read in a French accent, which I don't do very well, and sing something from the show. Okay? So I went and I dressed appropriately, because I was taught you dressed for an audition. Mm-hmm. So I was wearing black slacks and a white shirt and tie and a vest. And I walked in, I sang something from the show. I had gone to, I watched the Pink Panther on a loop to try to get a French accent in my head, and went, read, sang. The table was like, thank you very much. And Cheryl said to me, what are you doing later today that you're so dressed up? And I said, oh, nothing special. And Jeff Rain, the other producer, said, he knows how to dress for an audition. And I just looked at him, smiled, and I said, thank you. And I got cast. And that show changed my career, because now I became known as somebody that could do it. It led to me getting Drowsy the first time. It led to me getting the Golden Girls, where I played B. Arthur, which also scared the hell out of me. That was scary. That was scary, because it was with Uptown, and we did it at the Rose Room. So there were going to be a bunch of queens in the audience that were drunk, that knew B. Arthur and everything she did. And it was me, Michael Moore, Chris Robinson, and John De Los Santos played the four girls. And it was a remarkable experience. We were all so scared, because these women are iconic. That show is iconic. And the way the show was constructed was, we each got, sitcom entrance applause. Mm-hmm. When an actor comes in and you just applaud because you're seeing B. Arthur or Rue McClanahan or whatever. It was constructed that way. So we each had an entrance, and I'll never forget, opening night I walked in, and I don't remember who was first to come in, but I walked in and got entrance applause. I'm like, okay, we can do this. We can do this, yeah. So it was pretty brilliant. So that audition led and changed my career, because I didn't get cast in what I thought was the perfect role for me. Turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to me. Because had I got that role, I wouldn't have gone to the Funny Girl audition. I wouldn't have, all that stuff. So,
I think that's a true testament to continuing to audition, right? Continuing to put ourselves out there, which is something that, as actors, we take a rejection and then we just take it and then we'll sit with it.
Right. And so when you don't get something, go try someplace else, because you don't know what may change the trajectory of your career.
No, and I believe that fully. I mean, I auditioned for a show, goodness, it was supposed to be this summer, didn't get it, happened to audition for something else that I didn't even expect, and got it. And so now I'm having the time of my life working with that show. But I want to backtrack a bit. First off, when you said you were watching the Pink Panther for the French accent, all I could imagine was Steve Martin, she's burger, but not that, I'm sure.
I was scared to death, because I had done a French accent. An actor dropped out of Valley of the Dolls that Bob Hess and Doug Miller had adapted and were directing. And my roommate at the time, Rick Starkweather, was in the show, and they dropped out, and Rick said, Lon's available, you need somebody? So I went, and with Kara Serber. That's how I met Kara Serber.
That bitch.
And we, I had to play a French, basically porn director, and Kara was my star. And so I had to do that, and Bob Hess, who is a dialect coach and knows how to do dialects, was directing it, and I could tell he was like, well, you suck. Because I just couldn't do the accent. I couldn't do it. And ironically, in Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, I was cast opposite Bob Hess.
Stop.
And most of my stuff was with him, and I thought, I can't screw this up again. So I literally got an online tutorial on how to act in an accent, and learned how to do it, because I'm like, I can't, I can't.
Accents are so scary, and I think we don't concentrate them
You can
enough.
really screw them up.
Yes.
You can really screw them up.
Having to do a Cockney accent as Mr. Wormwood right now is just, blowing
why are you
mind.
doing that?
Kids Who Care.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, their swan song, right? Their last show.
So sweet.
And we have one of the students' parents is Australian.
Okay.
And so the first time I said daughter, and she came over after and she's like, glottal stops, right? And no R's. And I was like, okay. Daughter? Daughter. She was like, there.
Yeah.
It was like, oh,
Yeah.
I cannot do this. I was like, I just need you to record all my lines.
It's hard. It's hard.
I was like, we don't do it enough. I think we're just kind of thrown up there and go with it, right?
Right.
We need more of that. One other thing that I want to back up to as well, you mentioned how Cheryl is an actor who started directing.
Mm-hmm.
You as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Actor, director. Are there moments, and I mean, you especially being put in that callback position where you were reading with everyone, do you, now being a director, do you keep those moments where, you know, you're like, oh, I don't want this to be the same situation?
Absolutely.
Are you aware of that? How do you use that?
Absolutely. Right before the pandemic, the last thing I directed was Legally Blonde at GPAC. And it's a huge show. I think we cast 29 people. I mean, it was massive. And just before that, there was other auditions a friend of mine was going to, and he was at the callback, and he was there 3 hours before they had him do anything. And that's just rude. So I literally planned out like Tetris how to do singing in one room, dancing in another, and reading in another. And me and the team moved around to see stuff so that everybody was busy for the whole callback. I was determined not to allow anybody to sit there and do nothing. Mm-hmm. So yes, running callbacks and rooms in a professional way is incredibly important to me. And I think if you talk to actors that have worked for me, they would say that I make it fun, but it's also very professional, and you know your shit. You come in and you know your shit. We'll have a good time, but you're gonna work, and you're gonna work at the top of your game.
Yeah, I would say one of my favorite callbacks, Jubilee, they did the same thing where it was like, in this room something's going on, this room, you know, guys are singing over here. Okay, now switch, dancing, singing.
Yeah.
Because I have sat in callbacks before where you're just sitting there waiting.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, and I actually had this conversation with Rebecca Lowry where Rebecca's like, why even call people back that you know are casting the role? Do your callbacks for what you need callbacks for.
Right.
And that's it. And so I'm glad that you are mindful of our time, right?
Absolutely.
Because you don't want your time wasted either,
right.
I'm sure.
Right.
And so, love that. No, I love that you're mindful of our time. Speaking of mindful of our time together,
yes,
I want to be mindful that we have a song for you to sing.
Okay.
I know.
We'll see.
Lon just learned it today.
I did.
So please be prepared. Also, I just learned it today, so Vonda, don't come after me again.
Go ahead, Vonda, you can.
Okay, I'm going to start saying Lon that bitch instead of Kara that bitch.
You know what? Good, I've taken her crown.
So we'll be right back. Lon's going to do some singing for us. Who knows? I might sing too.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, let's go. I'm so excited to hear you sing.
Oh, we'll see. It's been a minute.
It literally has been a minute because we just ran this song. It has been a minute. Okay, so I think this song is perfect for you.
I love this
You
song.
Give Fatherly.
So are you calling me old?
No, I said daddy.
Oh, okay, I'll go with that. We're
cutting that, I promise. We're not.
Don't cut it.
No, I would say that, you give that fatherly, you know, that's why I think that Feed Me from Little Shop is a perfect song for you. Is that not what we're doing?
Let's do it.
Feed me. Does it have to be human?
Feed me.
Actually, oh my gosh, we're going to talk about this in a minute, about the role that he would do really well from this. Yeah, hold on. But for real, tell the people what you're singing today.
I'm singing Happy Sad from The Addams Family.
Let's do it.
who's to say which we should refuse? All we know, love survives either way we choose. Here you are at the edge, go ahead and fall. Don't resist, I insist, love still conquers all. I'm feeling happy, I'm feeling sad, a little childish, a little dad. I think of all the days you've known, all the ways you've shown. See you on your own, and then I'm feeling happy and sad again. I think I'm rested, but then I'm tired. Today requested, tomorrow fired. And now a boy says he adores she who once was yours. How can I ignore such news? I'm sad and happy, why should I choose? Life is full of contradictions, every inch a mile. At the moment we start weeping, that's when we should smile. In every heaven you'll find some hell, and there's a welcome in each farewell. Life can be harsh, the future strict. Who would dare predict? And the boy you've picked, not bad. So let's be happy, forever happy, completely happy, and a tiny bit sad. That makes me happy.
And a little bit sad. Do you know who else? Because I mean, it just came to mind when we were talking about father figure, Mushnick.
Ooh, I've directed a production of Little Shop, but I've never done it. But that would be fun.
I think you'd be hilarious.
That would be really fun.
Because I think with that show, it's also camp.
Right.
Right? If you're not on the other side of camp, then you're playing it too serious and it doesn't make sense.
Right.
The show doesn't make sense.
Well, I might argue with that.
Really?
In that camp, when you play it for the reality in the script, that's when the camp works better.
Oh.
If you play the camp, then it can become silly and stupid. Disaster is a perfect example. One of the big things that I've told both casts that I've directed is you have to believe that you're going to die. That's what amps the stakes up, which makes the camp so funny. Don't play the comedy because the comedy's there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, I understood. No, I get that. My favorite, because I've seen it, goodness, 4 times now, in New York, and Jinx Monsoon.
She's amazing. She's amazing.
It was so great.
Yeah.
And I think just because she is camp, lives in camp, right?
Right.
And so everything about her, Audrey, was just...
I bet. I haven't seen that production, but I would love to. And I love that it's been running for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been running for a while.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah, shout out to Major, who's
Right.
back in it now.
Yep.
I know. But yeah, I mean, I saw it, goodness, I've seen it with too many Audreys already.
Oh, fun.
And I'd see it with a
Yep.
million more
Yep.
to go. Okay, so let's talk about goodness. What am I supposed to talk about, Ellie? I just said, what was the first thing? Oh, your one-man show, dang it! Okay. Leave me alone. Yeah, literally.
Things
Clap.
that scare you.
Things that scare you into one-man show.
Give me the clap.
And outros, but...
Don't forget to do an outro.
Thank you. So you had said that the story that you wanted to tell today is doing things that really scare you, right? And putting that out there.
I think art is better. This is gonna sound weird. Art is better when you're afraid of it. When something scares you, I think you tend to work harder at it because you want to make it work. Disaster the first time scared the hell out of me. The first time I directed, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I had no idea. But I'm like, okay, I'll try. My motto is, if it scares you, you kind of have to do it. If you think it's going to be easy and a breeze, then why do it? If you're not going to learn something from it or grow, or then why do it? Golden Girls, when I did, scared the hell out of me. But I'm like, that means I should do it. Glengarry Glen Ross scared the hell out of me. But if it doesn't scare you, why do it? There's no reason to do it, in my opinion. If you're not just a little afraid of it, don't do it.
No, I think you're right. I think you'll completely learn from the experience, no matter what.
Right.
If you
Even
have that fear.
Even if you fail at it, even if you go, no, you're right. I should have been afraid of that because I wasn't good at it. Then do it. You know, why not do it?
Was it through Golden Girls that you learned that you were gay?
Oh, honey, please. I came out of my mother, the J, going, hello, my honey, hello, my baby. Come on.
Just immediately.
Come on.
You're there.
Come on. I felt, pumps fell out of my mouth the first thing I opened my mouth.
That makes me laugh. No, I agree. It's all about a learning experience. And I think that's where, like, when I did Sweeney Todd with Michael Serecchia, I learned so much.
He's one of the people that Cheryl Denson, who I mentioned, Michael Serecchia, BJ Cleveland, in this building is where I learned how to, the three of them stick out. Andy Allen sticks out as directors that I learned how to do things and how to conduct a room and how to balance things and make sure that it's fun and safe. And quick Andy Allen story. We were doing, Pegasus does those black and whites.
Mm-hmm.
For 2 years, it was then Irving Community Theater.
Yes.
It's now Main Stage. They did a couple, and I did the second one. And the set that was built were stairs that were higher than, like, each stair was huge. And we had chase scenes. And I can remember Andy Allen running up and down those, telling the set designer, I can't do this. How do you expect my actors to do that? And I took note of that. I went, oh, it's got to be safe. Like, yes, it may be the right vision. It may be what, the designer wants, but if it's not safe for actors who are already putting their heart and soul out, then you can't do it. You need to change it. And so she ended up getting that set changed after it was already built and put in the theater. Yeah. And so what I appreciate about all those people that I mentioned is they all taught me something about being vulnerable, being safe, caring for actors. Because a lot of people, because I've worked for directors who don't give a shit about you. Mm-hmm. They're there to put on a show and, oh, you've got a problem? Sorry. And that's, none of us, particularly in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, are gonna make a living or be rich from doing theater. It just, there are some people who make a living doing theater here, but not many, and most of us don't. So it's gotta be fun. It's gotta be fun, and it's gotta be safe, and it's the experience you take with you that is your payment. Because most of the time, if you get paid, it's $100.
Yeah.
Okay, great, thanks. That didn't pay for the gas that I spent in the last month.
Literally.
But if you have a good experience doing it, the production disaster that you saw, a lot of those people were my regulars that I said, please come do this. And a lot of them had never worked at Runway. Excuse me. But they were like, yes, because we know you and Kristen are going to create an environment where we can be silly, we can be fun, we can try things, and we're not going to be judged or told, oh, that's stupid. Well, except when it is stupid and it's in the right way of stupid. So that's important to me.
Yeah, I think that that's the most important part, right? Because I cannot tell you how many times I've been up and down stairs that are uneven on a set. Here's looking at you. You know who it is that has built those steps before.
It's not fair. Actors are already carrying. I mean, once a show opens, it's not the directors anymore. It's not the designers anymore. It's the actors and the stage manager. And if someone's not safe, then how does that work? You know. So yeah, it's important to me.
Speaking of safe space, I want you to talk about the process of creating a safe space, not only, physically safe spaces, but for gender diversity, every type of diverse LGBTQ, or how do you put that into your casting and your...
For me, I'm open to whomever walks in the room that strikes me as right for the role, regardless of what's written. And I say that with a caveat. If I'm gonna do Dream Girls, I'm not gonna cast a bunch of white bitches, right? Right? But there was a story a couple years ago where a pay-for-play children's theater somewhere in the area did Hairspray with all white people. I'm like, really? So Seaweed sang "The blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice," and he was white. Like, there are some things that you must play it, cast it appropriately, because it's written that way. But if it's not written specifically for that, then why not? Why not take the most talented people? I get really angry at people being a gay man who has done lots of gay theater. People are like, oh, you know what? Straight people shouldn't play gay roles. Why not? If they're the best actor for it, then why not? And conversely, gay men can play straight roles. Most of the characters I've played have been straight. So it's about being open enough to see everybody and to take chances with somebody that isn't necessarily the way it's written or the way it's always been played. That doesn't necessarily mean that's how it has to be.
I'm going to challenge that just a little bit.
Okay.
And say that sometimes I feel as though if it is a specific gay role, let's say, that there's not as many roles for gay people, and so the opportunity for a gay person to play that role, right?
I agree with you if they're the best suited for it. Because I go back and think, okay, if only gay people can play gay roles, and I understand what you're saying,
yes,
right?
Yes.
But if that's the case, then we wouldn't have Robin Williams in The Birdcage, right? We wouldn't have William Hurt in Kiss the Spider Woman, right? We wouldn't have Tom Hanks in Philadelphia. Should those films be made now today with straight actors? Maybe, maybe not. If they're the best person for the role, because the flip side of that is, and I know this is not necessarily a popular opinion, but if only gay people can play gay roles, then only straight people can play straight roles.
No, and I hear, because I love Tu Wong Fu.
And the remarkable late great Patrick Swayze,
yes,
is perfection.
Yes.
All three of them are perfection.
Yes.
In that. And so if there is somebody, all things being equal, from a performance perspective, yes, cast to be a person. But I don't think we should pigeonhole people. I think directors should be open enough to see, oh, you know what? Maybe she could play this guy. Maybe this gay man could play the straight man, and this straight man could play the gay man. Whatever the case, it's important for me to give people the opportunity if they're the best suited for the role.
No, I agree, and I think it's a conversation that we are continually going to have, and
Yep.
something that we're going to continually learn about,
Yep.
and learn to grow from in whatever direction we need to, right?
Yep.
And so I think
That recent revival of Boys in the Band, with all everybody was played by an out gay man, which was very, very powerful.
yes.
Even the one ambiguous character that is possibly straight was played by a gay man. That was powerful as a gay man to see that, right? So I think it's a great conversation to continue to have.
No, completely agree with that. Speaking of conversation, I want to talk about your upcoming project.
Well, it's not officially upcoming,
But a work.
but it's a work in progress. I'm about to, like I said, I'm older than I ever intended to be. In a couple of weeks,
Stop.
I will turn 60 years old. Yes. So I've been writing this series of posts on both Facebook and Instagram about just random memories. And since the pandemic, I think I have a story to tell. I couldn't figure out what that was. And as I started to write this series, I write one every day, and I've done one for the 60 days leading up to my 60th birthday. I think that's a show. I think there are stories that I tell that some are funny, some are sad. There's a lot of theater stuff because that's been a lot of my life. So I think that's a show that I'm going to try to put together and figure out what it might be. So stay tuned, because we'll see. And if any theater wants to give me space to do it, I'd love it.
Yeah, I think that'd be so much fun.
I think it could be really interesting.
Who would play you?
I think I would officially become man in another chair. Or maybe that's the title of the show.
I don't know.
Man in another chair.
I could see, someone.
Kara Serber could play me.
Kara Serber. Speaking.
As Lon Barrera, you bitch.
That bitch. Speaking of people that we hate, in our pre-discussion, you also talked about a couple of guests that you also hated.
No, the only one I said I hated was Kara Serber, and she knows I love her.
That's because it's across the board. I think all my followers on Instagram also hate Kara. We're starting a hate Kara campaign.
And I think she's across the street right now.
She is. Yeah. Sorry, Kara. We love you. But you also mentioned, we've talked about Jaden multiple times.
Yes.
Obviously, we adore Jaden. We love Jaden. Jaden is a piece de resistance in our DFW area. But somebody else that you mentioned, Shannon McGran. Speaking of people making a living off of acting.
The first time I really met Shannon was when she did Cake at Uptown Players. And I went out of, I felt like obligation. And I thought, okay, I'll go see this show, but I'm not gonna like it because it's about a woman who doesn't want to bake a cake. Like, ugh, I want to watch this. She is just a remarkable actor who is able to. I mean, that's a brilliant script anyway. But she's able to take somebody who you're not supposed to like, and I fell in love with her, and like so much so that actually Kara and I came together to see her do it here at Theater Arlington. And she's just remarkable in everything she does.
Everything. Unfortunately. That's why we hate her so much.
I love her. I love her.
I can't stand her. She's crazy bitch.
That she is.
Because honestly, and I love her story that she has tried acting, her whole life, and then she's like, I finally found it later in life where I can do this.
Yep.
And she goes, it took me this long to get here.
Yep.
And I was like, that's the testament as well to just keep trying.
Just keep on.
Yeah, I think, and I mean, you too. Just keep trying. You're gonna find it one day, Lon.
Okay, eventually. I'll be 90.
You're almost there. I feel it. You're right
on the precipice.
Yeah, you're right on it.
Right there.
You know, right on the bubble.
Yeah,
you're just
I'm close.
Yeah,
I'm close someday.
Yeah,
I'm gonna keep trying.
I one day everyone's gonna know who Lon is.
Yeah, maybe.
Because
or not.
I mean, or not. I feel like everybody already knows who Lon is.
Maybe not.
Everybody knows who Lon. Unfortunately, Carol. Thanks, Carol. So no. No, I've enjoyed our time today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This was fun.
I'm glad that you and Celie came on.
Yep.
Today. I'm sorry
Miss Celie.
we never introduced Miss Celie.
That's all right.
But I appreciate your time and you sharing all your stories with us. And this is probably one of my favorite episodes.
Thanks. Appreciate that.
Better than Kara's.
Of course.
What isn't better than Kara's? So yes. Anything else that you want to put out there? Anything else?
No, I think I'm good.
Yeah. Oh, he's good because he is good. He's that good.
I tried.
Yeah. No. Don't forget to catch us on social media. Follow us at Daniel Does DFW on Instagram, Facebook. You can watch this on YouTube if you're doing it right now. Make sure you're watching it, or listen to it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you pick up your podcast. To watch not only Lon's episode, but if you missed it, apparently you have to watch Kara's because you know, that bitch. But thank you again, Lon. Had a great time.
Thanks, I did too.
And do you have any socials, Lon, that you want to plug?
Facebook and Instagram, you can find me. There's not a whole lot of Lon Barreras in the world.
But so that you can follow along to 60 Days to 60.
It's hashtag Lons 60 on 60.
69. No. It's 60 something.
No. Don't age me.
I would never. I'm only 12. So thanks again. We'll catch you later. Bye.
Bye.